One on TNT, 4 delivered with a very interesting card. Disappointment for some notable names. Let's talk first, though, about the undercard to start it off. And before we do that, make sure you guys smash that like button and subscribe to the channel covering all things MMA, pre-fight, and post-fight. Colbey Northcutt, Courtney Martin. This fight was pretty quick. Courtney Martin did land a takedown early. And for a second, it's like, oh man, maybe Colbey Northcutt would be in trouble on the ground. But no, not at all. Submission victory, first round. The armbar fully sunk in. Armbar in women's MMA is the way to go. I mean, it just tends to work well. She pulls it off, gets the tap. Great performance for Colbey Northcutt here over Courtney Martin. Moves forward. I don't know what the matchup will be next. I think they are slowly easing her up. I mean, she's 2-1. She just fought an 0-0 fighter. I maybe give her a 1-0 fighter, or maybe even a 1-1 fighter for her next one. Somebody newer to the game. You don't want to rush her too fast. I don't think she's at the level just yet. She needs a little more work, and let's work her nice and slowly and steadily. Let's not rush her. Now, Jackie Buntan and Ekaterina Vandaryeva. Vandaryeva was pissed about the loss, but at the end of the day, Buntan landed the more effective punches. She closed distance. Sure, Ekaterina really had her moments, but to me, it was Jackie Buntan's fight. She's a prospect and somebody to keep an eye on in the women's Muay Thai. We'll see exactly what happens next for her. I believe she's a training partner of Jeanette Todd. She's ranked in that weight class. Does she choose to fight potentially against her friend and training partner? We will see with time. Ekaterina Vandaryeva, disappointing loss, will be back most definitely. The one championship Muay Thai is very interesting with the MMA gloves. I think it's continuing to develop and the weight classes are getting deeper and deeper. This women's division is very interesting. Now, let's talk about this fight because this one really, out of all the prelims, deserves the most praise. Shinya Aoki looked fantastic as he destroyed Eduard Folayang. Shinya Aoki also has the scariest voice in MMA, period. Sounds like a supervillain. And after the fight, he made some call-outs, called the name of Yoshihiro Akiyama. I like that he called that name because I do think it produces a very interesting fight. I would be open to seeing it. I think that his grappling game would beat the older Akiyama, but that's the fight he wants, and I do think it's a sellable fight and a marketable one. Potentially a Christian Lee rematch, maybe fighting for the world title, but I think he wants more fun fights. But another name we'll talk about a little bit later that might be next for him is somebody who fought in the next fight down after the one. So actually 2 more down. So first, we'll bring it back to the subject of what's next for Shinya very soon. Eduard Folayang, 3 straight losses for him. I think maybe he's got to probably consider retiring, but at the end of the day, he does probably need the paychecks. I think continue to fight until one championship no longer feels he's a valuable asset. I think he will continue to take some fights and maybe lessen the competition on him because against the top-ranked guys in the world, he just isn't there. And didn't compete well here with Shinya at all in losing for a second time. Now, this fight was very disappointing. Rug had all this hype coming in, this Senegalese wrestler. They felt this was their Francis Ngannou. And Kirill Grishenko, unknown relatively, had some wrestling in a Greco-Roman background, which is very effective in MMA. Beats Rug. Rug holding the arms, did throw a few punches, but didn't land anything of note. And then a punch lands maybe at the bell, maybe slightly after. I don't know. To me, it was fair. Kirill Grishenko, obviously, he's like, all right, yeah, that's it. That's the end of the round. Walks away. Umar Kane, then after getting tapped, goes down, acting as if his jaw is broken, acting. It was terrible. He got brought out on a stretcher. I do hope he's okay and that it's not actually something. It definitely doesn't look like it's something. It looked like it was a bit of a spectacle. Strange moment. I guess we will find out. I'll quickly look up if there's any news on Rugru because now I'm just curious if anybody has said anything. Is he okay or is he fine? Because I personally believe it was a full flop. They're not saying there's nothing released right now. I don't know. He got stopped in a strange finish. He laid down. He quit. I thought he was playing a game. He was losing the fight. And he loses here against Kirill. Gurshinko drops his stock, I would say, by a mile. Goes from a heavyweight contender to looking like a mediocre heavyweight. Kirill Gurshinko, no disrespect to him, he is a good fighter with decent kickboxing, which definitely got him the win in this one. Also with his great Greco-Roman and his defense, the Senegalese wrestler could not get him on his back, and it didn't look like it was going his way, so he decided to take the easier route. bad performance on the part of Umar, Kane, and all the hype and momentum, but now it has come crashing down, and no one will look at him the same after this flop. I hope he's okay, and it's not anything. I don't want to say it would be better if it is something, but it definitely would for his stock if something broke in his jaw or something crazy, because right now it looks like he just quit the fight because he was losing and tried to get a disqualification. Kirill, Grishenko, congratulations. Rug, no comment really beyond what I've said. Not impressed with the performance whatsoever. But now we arrive to the co-main event, rather, excuse me. And this is something that's going to relate to the Shinya Aoki fight. Smash the like button if you have not already and subscribe to the channel. Let's talk about the co-main event. Rae Yoon nearly knocks out Eddie Alvarez in the first round. He dropped him badly. In America, they might stop that fight, to be 100% honest. It's just lucky that we're not in America here for this one. We're in Asia and Singapore because they let it go a bit longer. Eddie was out, it looked like. I thought the fight was finished. And then Eddie Alvarez somehow survives, still getting pieced up a bit on the feet, but survives. Second round, Eddie Alvarez probably edged it out. Third round, competitive, maybe you give it to Eddie. The thing is, that's not how one scores the fights. One championship scoring is as a full fight. The most significant moment is Rae Yoon nearly knocking out Eddie Alvarez. He still had moments in the second and third round. Rae Yoon had such a devastating first that definitely locked him to win. Some people felt maybe it would be a draw, but this is not the 10-point must system. This is one championship's own unique scoring system, and we need to keep that in mind when watching these fights. I do feel under that system, Rae Yoon definitely won the fight. Do the 10-point must system, some people might argue it's a draw. I still could see the fight being given to Rae Yoon, but I understand the idea that Eddie won, because it's definitely an argument that can be made that Eddie on the American rule set would have drawn or won, but still, I think more of a draw would be the only possibility outside of Rae Yoon winning. He is a hot prospect, excellent takedown defense, gets right back up to his feet, is so resilient. You can't get on top of this guy. You saw what Eddie did to Yuri Lapicus. He couldn't even get on top of Rae Yoon. Ook is going towards the title. He might be what's next for the champion. Eddie Alvarez was supposed to be in a number one contender fight. Shinya Aoki doesn't seem too complacent on a rematch, too content with doing that. I think Rae Yoon might fight Christian Lee for the title, and I think he's a serious threat to Christian Lee more so than these other fighters. He's a very tall fighter at 6 feet. Granted, the gas tank is a question. Somewhat hittable at times, but really not much. There's not that many mistakes from the outside. He's excellent from kickboxing range, and he destroyed Eddie Alvarez from kickboxing range. Eddie leaves the lead hand down continuously. It's the same issue. The lead hand is low. He needs to bring it up higher. Needs a bit more head movement. Was getting cracked by the straight hand. If you watched the live stream, you saw that I said, I see that straight shot coming, and boom, that's what put him down, and that's really what lost him the fight here. Congrats, Rae Yoon. He's probably fighting for a title next. For Eddie Alvarez, I like the idea of Shinya Aoki next. I don't know why. Either that or Murat Gafarov. I think those are two names that could be next for him. He's had a rough go in one championship. Not gone the way that he probably would have expected. But that's the fight game. I think if he can get a couple wins, he could still be in the mix for a title. But Rae Yoon most definitely set him back at least 2 fights here. Eddie Alvarez will need to step it up. He's only won 1 fight in 1 championship so far. He has a loss, a win, no contest, now a loss once again. Not looking great. 1-2 and 1 no contest so far in his 1 championship run. See where he goes from here, but I like Aoki or Murat Gafarov next. Both winnable. They did beat Aoki by knockout in the last time they fought. That would be a trilogy fight, actually. They have 2 fights prior, so I think it sells. Main event. Reinier de Ridder, Aung La N Sang. Dominant performance by Reinier de Ridder. Grappling, heavy game. Aung La N Sang did not get tapped. He went the full 25 minutes with Reinier de Ridder, but we knew at the end of the day who had won the fight. It was pure control with the grappling. There was a serious level difference as far as positional dominance for Reinier de Ridder. Aung La N Sang was able to defend the submission attempts, especially when he started getting sweaty, and then the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th round when he was on the ground, he was able to slip out of things. In the first, he could have been in the most trouble. This is just not a good matchup for him. Reinier de Ridder's grappling is too much. He's a 2-weight world champion now, and he calls out none other than heavyweight champion Brandon Vera. That is a very intriguing call out. I like that call out, and I'll be honest, I pick Reinier de Ridder to beat Brandon Vera. I think that he'll get him to the ground and potentially choke him out in that fight. I think that's definitely a fight one championship should consider making. Potentially a triple champion. Reinier de Ridder will have probably one of the higher stocks outside the UFC, without a doubt. Now, for Aung La N Sang, I still think he's a top guy. He'll still get fun fights, and he's still a contender either in middleweight or light heavyweight. But as long as Reinier de Ridder's champion, I really can't see a case being made for seeing a rematch again, seeing a trilogy between these two. It's a clear level difference between them both. It's sad to see. I love Aung La N Sang. He's a very good man and he's a great fighter. But Reinier de Ridder has his number, and that's 2 straight wins over him. Great performance for de Ridder, and I'm very impressed by him. I think he's a serious problem for any middleweight on the planet. He's a very tricky fighter. And he won that fight at light heavyweight for the light heavyweight title, but at middleweight, he's really dangerous. At light heavyweight, he's also dangerous. Potentially even heavyweight, he'll be dangerous, becoming a 3-weight champion. That would be something amazing and a spectacle. Right now, he's looking like the face of one championship with this big win. He's their double champ. If he's able to win one more belt, cannot imagine the momentum going his way. But overall, was a fun card. I enjoyed watching. Some disappointing moments, but overall, I would say good results in action. This was the last one of this season's One on TNT series. We cannot wait for them to be back. Huge fan of One Championship. I think they do great work. Cannot wait to cover more of their events. Unfortunately, a lot of the time slots probably won't be great for live streaming, but still we'll be giving out predictions and betting previews for the One Championships card. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure you guys smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. Follow my social media, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and I will see you all in the next video.